Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 43rd edition of Coffee with Ashish. And today we've got a very special guest with us, Mrs. Susan Akporiaye. I hope I pronounced it correctly, from Nigeria. And before we get into conversation with her, as always, as a pretext, Susan, we always talk about what we've been up to in the last. It's been a journey which we started just 3 months back or so during pandemic, and we'll be celebrating our golden jubilee edition in a few weeks from now. So it's been a melange of speakers we have had, different experiences, everybody coming in together, different
Congratulations.
products, different travel intermediaries, offline players, technology players, meta search engines, you name it. And we have had people who have been kind enough to grace the stage and share their learnings with us. And I think today it's one of the first. We mostly focus on India as a country, and certain other parts of the Europe we've had speakers from. But I think Africa is something which we never touched upon on our show, and we're really excited to. Because the whole world is always excited. They look at Africa as the next. I know a few years back, 20, 30, 40 years back, it was when we were in India growing up. India used to be looked upon as the next milestone of growth, and now everybody in the world looks at Africa as the next accelerated growth engine for the world. And even if you talk about the younger population across the world, even India is now aging as we speak. And Africa, I was reading somewhere, the average age in Africa in some countries is even 18 years, Ashish, I mean, compared to 35 or 36 here. And sometimes it's very interesting, because when we talk about typically, and I know, Susan, you come from Nigeria, but for us, in many ways, you're going to be representing Africa as a continent as well for our audience. And it's really interesting, because most of us have very specific stereotypes in terms of the way we understand how Africa operates. People have very limited on the ground knowledge, because not a lot of them dare to actually go and see the situation on the ground. And even from a travel perspective, I know when I went to South Africa a decade back, had a very different perception that it's going to be all, wildlife and, very folksy stuff. But it was completely different. And when we travel around different parts of Africa, we realize that, the same way when people tell us, the old school people from the West, when they say, oh, India is like a land of snake charmers and whatnot. And when they come here after a few years, they realize that, it's a different situation altogether. And it's the same, I think,
Exactly.
in many ways with Africa as well, that people are still coming to grips with the reality that, the way they think, the way they position. I was looking at some numbers with Nigeria, countries like Uganda. The internet penetration is going through the roof, and these are some of the fastest growing economies in the world. And I think it's really interesting when we talk about travel and tourism as well, to really understand and appreciate it. But as always, I've got Susan, couple of cartoons and funny memes to sort of capture our discussion, which we have been doing. And that's how people, and I don't know if you know, Ashish, on this right, saying Boda Boda right, which is very common in many African countries. And these are some of the interesting flavors which you never get to hear. And the middle one is actually my favorite, that what really people think about they're going to do when they go to Africa. And that's how they perceive. And when they go there on the ground, they realize that it's a completely different ball game out there. So I think with this context, I mean, who better to talk about some of these contexts than our guest today with us, Mrs. Susan Akporiaye, who's the managing director and chief executive of Topaz Travel and Tours Limited, which is registered with the Corporate Affairs of Nigeria. And she started this company to operate businesses in the domain of ticketing, hotel reservations, both inbound and outbound tourism. The company is registered with the International Air Transport Association, IATA, and also with the local regulatory bodies, NANTA and NCA. And it's been one of the pioneering organizations in Nigeria to promote travel and tourism in the country. And they have been recognized as well for some of these initiatives. They have also done a lot of work around travel training and development for travel agents to become more professional, to become more organized and structured in the country. And Topaz Travels also continues to contribute their sort of initiative in generating employment opportunities, which is a big issue now. And they also support the cause of mentorship, internship, and apprenticeship opportunities for young people, for the youth of the country. And they've also won a lot of accolades for some of these initiatives which they have done. They were, she was awarded the top 100 African women in the travel and tourism industry in 2017. She was also awarded the Abuja Top 50 Tourism Pioneers by ATQ in 2018. She's also the fellow of Institute of Corporate Administration and Institute of Tourism Professionals. She's also served as the Abuja Zonal President of NANTA. She served as chairperson of the Constitution and Policy Review for AGM and event committees. She's also currently active running national president for National Association of Nigerian Travel Agencies, NANTA. And she's a council member of treasurer of Federation of Tourism Association of Nigeria. So guys, you've got a wealth of experience on not only Nigeria, but Africa in general with us. So with this, a very warm welcome to you, Susan Akporiaye, to On Coffee with Ashish. With deep gratitude, I welcome you. And I'm going to hand it over to Ashish to have a conversation with you while I sit back and enjoy my coffee.
Thank you.
Well, Susan, am I allowed and tempted to say Waka Waka, this time for Africa?
Yes, it's time for Africa. You can say that again.
Yes. Talking about time for Africa and time during the COVID times, suddenly, as far as India is concerned, which did happen to be the second largest internet penetrable destination in the world after China, shot up through the roof. People say what would have happened technically in 2022 happened in 2020 in the few months' time, right? And Nigeria, I looked up, was the 6th largest internet market in the world. So whenever we talk about internet, travel can't be far behind, because internet and travel go hand in hand. Entertainment and internet go hand in hand. So how's it impacting today? And I don't mean today in terms of COVID exactly, but how does it impact currently, and how do you see it impacting in medium and short term going forward in the Nigerian e-commerce market? What's the landscape there?
Oh yes, like you said, we in Nigeria also understand that the use of internet is putting you on the global stage. Like you said, it's time for Africa. Africa, I believe, is the next big thing that's going to happen very soon, hopefully. And for that to happen, we seriously in Africa, especially Nigeria, which is the most populous country in Africa, we need to put ourselves in the global stage. And there is no better way to do that than to embrace e-commerce, embrace the internet global space, because that's where everybody in the world will know about you, will know about what you do, and that's how you're going to change a lot of concepts. There's a concept that in Africa, we still live in trees and jump from one tree or the other like monkeys. But when they come in, it's a whole different board game. They actually are shocked to their bones to see what is going on. And we must change the narratives. We must change the narratives. And to do that, we seriously have to embrace putting ourselves out there in the e-commerce space digitally. And interestingly, because Nigeria is the most populous country, there is no form of business or investment that won't try. So we are also open for investors to come in. We have over 200 million people in population, meaning there is no business you do in Nigeria. If you have your strategies right, if you are a very good management, that you will not prosper, you will not make it. That is why in Nigeria alone, we have the highest percentage in, our percentage in growth was 63% growth in usage of the internet between the previous years and the Q1 of 2020. This tells me nothing but Nigeria and Africa is ready. We are ready to compete in the global stage. And like you said, tourism products goes far and wide if we embrace the digital space. Because if you don't embrace the digital space, people will not know about what you do. And our tourism products, as usual, will be left in the dark. A lot of people will not know. So definitely, like you said, Nigeria and Africa as a whole, we are seriously beginning to embrace that space and positioning ourselves for a global competition.
Right. So now let's get specifically into other business segments, and let's just hit the domestic business segment within Nigeria. People from Nigeria traveling within Nigeria. Would you just outline the domestic holiday landscape, both in short and medium terms? And obviously internet will play a role there, we understand, but you know, what are the destinations? How do people travel, mode of travel?
Yeah. Nigeria is a gold mine. I mean, the tourism in Nigeria is yet to be tapped, sincerely. We are still scratching the surface. It's a gold mine. Our tourism in Nigeria is a gold mine waiting to be tapped, an untapped gold mine. Like I said before, we have a population of over 200 million people. And this population, the percentage that travels outside the country is just about 10%. So our foreign travel agencies, COVID has brought some form of reality being done on us. We've been shut down for them, and that's made us to begin to appreciate what we have. You know, it's not just in Nigeria, from Kenya and in Zimbabwe, because we are pursuing the same cause. Africa is saying, you know what, Africans, this is the time for us to look inwards. I mean, COVID has happened. We can have the luxury of traveling to those exotic places that we usually go. Why I said it's not a Nigerian problem per se, because domestic holiday demand in Nigeria pre-COVID, I must say, was on the low side. But since COVID happened, the awareness has grown. I, for one, am one of the people that championed that awareness. I started a challenge called the Tourism Challenge. And what's this challenge all about? Every member of NANTA are supposed to do a video, 2-3 minutes video, and they talk about the tourism opportunities in their state. Nigeria, by the way, is made up of 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, which is 37. And each of the states have, they are highly endowed with beautiful tourist sites. And another thing about Nigerian tourism is, tourism is natural. It's not man-made. I mean, we are blessed with so much natural scene, and we are also big in cultural tourism. Nigeria has an ethnicity of over 700, with over 1,000 cultural festivals. Just like any other place, we usually have this issue of, oh, it's my country, I know about my country, why should I travel around my country? So the percentage of people showing interest to travel within Nigeria pre-COVID was low. But COVID has opened our eyes to see we have to begin to embrace traveling into Nigeria. So that tourism challenge that I told you about is beginning to bring a lot of awareness. People are beginning to talk about the things that they have. And the next thing we're going into is promoting them and marketing it digitally.
Right. And obviously, growth in domestic tourism also lays a good, strong foundation for inbound tourism, because the infrastructure gets ready, things get ready to go. So if you come back to inbound tourism, I do know it's culturally very best, but what were the major source market worldwide for people to come into the country, Nigeria, and what should Africa and Nigeria as a whole be doing to promote this now going forward?
Okay, to answer that question, inbound tourism, we have realized that is the way to go. And that's one of the ways in which any country would recover quickly from this pandemic that we are faced. The short-term goal, of course, that we have is what we are doing presently, creating awareness about our tourist site, and begin to think about promotion and digital marketing. Then, of course, the long-term goal, like you said, is beginning to put infrastructures, better infrastructures in place in these places. And the countries that are more open for inbound tourism in Nigeria, we're talking about the United Kingdom, United States in particular. You know, there's this movement in America that the Black Americans want to come and know their roots. I mean, they want to come back to find out where they come from. And
Right.
quite a number of them have traced their roots to Nigeria. So the market is big for Nigeria and Africa as a whole in the United States. And of course, Africa, we are ready for them and to show them where they come from. And they will have a memory of a lifetime that they will not forget so soon.
Right. And what's the government and you and your association looking to do to promote that for Africa as a whole, now that things are in a shutdown? I'm sure promotions have still started in some digital manner, showcasing the country.
Oh, yes. As it is, I'm happy COVID happened. Like somebody would say, thank God for COVID.
Yeah.
You know,
It made
COVID
us realize,
yes, it does. It is just like a rude shock, a rude awakening for everybody. So, and I believe our government too is beginning to see this rude awakening. So, what the association is doing, and my other colleagues from other tourism associations, you know, tourism, travel and tourism, hospitality generally. We have a Federation of Tourism Associations of Nigeria, and it was set up by the federal government, an umbrella body where all the different associations, including NANTA, belong to. Of course, the hotel owners are also there, the catering services, the restaurant owners. It's just a big body. So what we've been doing, we've been putting ourselves in that space and engaging the government. COVID has happened and it has given us opportunity for the government to listen to us. So, and they are beginning to engage us like never before. You know, before we've been clamoring to be part of the processes the government are putting in place. But COVID has happened and the government realized the private sector, the tourism private sector, we are too important to be left out of the whole arrangement.
equation.
So as it is, the association has been involved in different committees, like the post-COVID committee headed by the vice president of the country. They have formed a subcommittee for the tourism sector. And of course, Nanta, myself, we are part of that committee that it's supposed to look into what they have done and find out if they have properly represented the sector and put in our own input. So that is our government telling us that we are ready to do domestic tourism. We are ready to join hands with the private sector, because over the years, it's been only us, the private sector, promoting tourism in Nigeria. You know, because of this oil, I mean, it caused a lot of distraction for us.
Right.
But COVID happened. We all know how much the oil prices is now. So every country, whether they like it or not, has to look inwards. And for us, our government are joining hands with us to begin to look into domestic tourism. And that's a good thing for us. So definitely good will come out of it, even though pre-COVID, we are expecting a lot to happen in that aspect.
Right. Let's just talk about the relationship of government and the associations. There are few similarities in what you said in associations in India and associations in Nigeria. But one of the ailments for associations in India is there are perhaps too many. They're fragmented. On the last count, somebody told me that there were almost 15, 16 associations independent. And the government at some stage is asking, tell us who we should be talking to. Who do you represent? I mean, do you have a similar situation there?
Oh, unfortunately, we don't. In the travel and tourism sector, we actually do not identify this problem. Just like you said, it got to a stage the government were like, okay, who should we be talking to? That was how the Federation of Tourism Associations of Nigeria came up.
Right.
They formed that so that all of us can be under that umbrella. But in the travel and tourism space, we just have two associations. So we don't have that issue of multiple association in the travel and tourism space. So for our space, we have NANTA, which is the National Association of Nigerian Travel Agencies. And basically for NANTA, we are both under aviation and tourism, because we work with aviation because we do tickets, both local, domestic, regional, and international. And we also, of course, the travel agency, we also are involved in tours. And the second association in this space for us here in Nigeria is the Nigerian Association of Tour Operators. Those are basically they are into just tour operations, unlike NANTA, that we do both tickets and tours. And another good thing that has come out for us, because we don't have that problem of multiple associations in Nigeria, we don't, not in the tourism and travel space, just two, NANTA and NATOP. And we are working closely together now. We have to find ways of collaborating, because we know collaboration is the way forward, going forward. So we are joining forces, NATOP and NANTA. We are coming together to really push and promote and market domestic tourism, because we need each other. Tourism is very big, and everybody has their part to play in the entire chain.
Right. I like what you said in terms of the government and private, because in India, normally government has said tourism and travel and even aviation, although they own Air India, is not a business they should be in. It should be best left to the private partners. But today I sit back and I say, whereas it should be left to the private companies, but I think the government has a very strong role to play in policies and putting everybody together into one roof. Otherwise, you have a scattered strategies of each companies working on their own. And I'm sure that's the position in Nigeria as well. So,
yes, we have that position. The private sector has been pushing tourism all along, but we know that we cannot get our domestic tourism to the level in which we want it to compete globally without that will be involved in the infrastructure. Tourism is capital intensive. So no matter how much we even collaborate and put together, we need the government to come in. And that is why I said, realize that, and they've been engaging us seriously in different committees. That's because they are now willing to work with us. And we know that they are important in the scheme of things, so we can't do it without them. So we've been clamoring, we've been championing the government listening to us and getting us involved. And COVID-19 happened, and that is beginning to come to fusion and reality.
Yeah, right. So let's move to another segment of business, and that is corporate travel. We're obviously oil-rich Nigeria. We know the economy of Nigeria. And there are, of course, many multinational presence of many countries in Nigeria, and of course, his own national company. So what's the normal corporate travel landscape? Do you have people from companies traveling overseas naturally? Is it a big sector? Have people adopted to the self-booking tool? Are they able to book their own corporate travel just as they do globally in Europe, and it's happening in India now? Or you still work the traditional way of somebody assisting you in corporate travel?
Oh, that's a very good question. Before now, yes, Nigeria, we began to experience that, where people go online, use the e-commerce space, and make their bookings themselves and all that. But we're not too much bothered. We still told ourselves we need to make ourselves relevant. We need to educate people the importance of using the travel agencies for their plans, for their itinerary. And I believe we're not the only ones experiencing that, because that is the other side of digitalization.
Yeah.
Digitalization gives people the confidence they can do things by themselves, and there's no harm in it. But what we now intend to do is we need to make people understand even if you do it yourself, you still need a consultant, the importance of consultant. And since COVID happened, actually, interestingly, that challenge will not be there anymore, because as it is, people will not be able to, even though they want to, make these bookings by themselves, because they will need to talk to somebody on advice on where to go to, how to go about it, the rules and because the rules and regulations post-COVID, it's enormous. The information is a lot. And most times, all this information has been given to us, because in NAMTA, we engaged our partners, we engaged the airlines, we engaged other African tourism boards, we engaged even our government, because we wanted to equip our members with so much information that will remain relevant post-COVID. Like I usually say, interestingly, post-COVID, this is when the importance of travel agencies would actually come to play. People will begin to realize how important we are, because we are the ones that are going to be in the position to give them that advice that is so much to, because we are also in that space. And my team in NANTA, we have a program, because we understand that like never before, the travel agent is going to play a very important role post-COVID, and we needed to get ourselves ready. So we've engaged in a training program and a capacity program where we will get professionals that will come and certify, train and certify our members. We are getting ourselves ready post-COVID. And like you said, I mean, for corporate overseas holiday for us, coming into Nigeria, that's inbound, it's because we've not really 100% come into that space. So most times for internationals coming into Nigeria, they embrace using a travel consultant. So I mean, because they need our advice, they need our guidance. And for Nigeria before COVID, we are big in corporate travel.
Right.
Like have a lot of foreign organizations. Like I said earlier, Nigeria is one place that if you come to invest in any business, you're going to make money, especially if your business is standardized. So we have a lot of foreign corporate organizations that have their staffs coming from all over the world. And we always tend to, when they come in, give them an opportunity to also see what we have in Nigeria. So for now, and which we're also working on, business travel, corporate travel, it's very big for us. We are including domestic tourism into that. And by the time that already comes to play, it's going to make the market bigger for us. Include the corporate travel, we also include domestic travel. So part of the program that NANTA put together is to enhance professionalism and capacity building. We have embarked on this very robust training program. It's actually robust. Different sections from the basic foundation to the professional level. Everybody will have something to do. And eventually we'll begin to give certification. And this certification, we're going to get international affiliations. And of course, IATA is also coming on board to certify this training program that we have.
Right. One of the fears in India in the corporate travel market is not the competition from each other or competition from the internet, but competition from such webinars like you and I are having. We're saying that, corporates may not be traveling, they may be getting onto a Zoom call instead. Do they have such fears in Nigeria as well?
Oh, yes, the fears are there, especially for those of us that do MICE. Right. You understand what I mean? Yeah. Those of us that do MICE. So the fear is there. The question is, post-COVID, is it going to be an end to MICE? If you ask me personally, it might slow down the pace of MICE, but will eventually come back. For no other reason but for the fact that human beings, we are creatures of interaction. We are creatures of interaction. I mean, this whole thing, embracing technology, the digital front, I believe it's not going to go away, because it's actually a more affordable way to have a global meeting. with everybody all over the world joining. Like you now in India, you're having a meeting with me. I mean, if I was to come over or you were to come to Nigeria, I mean, we know what it would have costed us.
Yeah, yeah.
But now it's is less cost effective, but I strongly believe it's not physical interaction because, like I said, interaction. A very good example, Travel Market London is holding in November, physically,
Right.
not digitally. They're going to have both digital and physical. So this just shows to prove what I have been saying all along. Digital front has come to stay, no doubt, but it's not going to push away physical interaction. Classical example, just November, which is just a few months away, WTM London, they've sent out mails. They're going to hold physical, and they're still going to make provision for digital. For those that still have some reservation on coming to me physically, will join them digitally. But if you want to come, their doors are open for you to come. So this is a classical example of what I've been saying. MICE is not going to go anywhere. It might take time to come back, but it will definitely come back. Because I'd rather want to sit with you and having that coffee with you on the table than what I am doing, because everybody wants to have that feel of interaction, right, and all that. So who will eventually come back to that physical interaction? It's not going anywhere.
Right. So on that positive note, Susan, I'd say goodbye. And I'd say again, this time for Africa. And more power to you, more power to your country. Good wishes from us here.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you too. You have a nice day. Like you said, it's time for Africa. Yes. Waka Waka is time for Africa, and we are taking the advantage. And of course, as usual, Nigeria is going to take the lead.
Yes.
In this campaign for Africa.
And talking about the two countries and talking about the two continents, India and Africa have obviously been very close, both diplomatically, politically, and so on for over the years. You know, the entire freedom movement of India began from South Africa when Mahatma Gandhi, of course, traveled from Africa into India. And coming back to South Africa, Nelson Mandela has been a figure which is much revered.
Oh, yes.
Every day. So, like I said, more power to all you guys. And over to Karthik for his concluding. He's smiling. He's happy with something.
No, absolutely. And thanks so much, Susan, for spending time.
And one last thing, Ashish, one last thing. Interesting thing too, all of us in Africa, we are collaborating. We've been talking, we've been having meetings with each other. South Africa, Kenya, everybody. Yeah. We've all come to one conclusion that it's actually really time for Africa. And for this to happen, we all have to work together. And we've been putting things in place, strengthening our relationship, having different meetings, looking at ways how we can all come together and run. So it's not just Nigeria. Everybody is on board on this project. Every African country is on board on this project. And we've been talking, and we'll continue to talk until Africa becomes a global brand.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's a phase I live with during these times, known as the universe of travel.
And you know, in fact, I'm just got reminded of something. When I was in college, I studied this concept of Ubuntu, and how in Zulu tribe, if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you all go together. And I am because you are. So I think that's something we can all learn from Africa. Absolutely, to be in this together. So with this, we are at the end of today's session. Thank you everyone for joining in. A special thanks, Susan, and the other guests who have joined us, and thanks Ashish as always. And we'll see you all next week on our next edition. Till then, signing off. Thank you everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.